Now, how many hours shut-eye do you get per night? If you're anything like me, the answer is probably not enough, but it is a problem which is increasingly affecting people a whole lot younger than me. In fact, a team of experts from across the UK are set to take a closer look at teenagers and their sleep patterns. And here's why. A survey by Sleep Scotland found that only 1% of the 800 teenagers they asked felt satisfied with their sleep every night. 34% said they had an extremely hard time falling asleep almost every night. And 50% said that they felt tired or dragged out nearly every day. So could this be the wake-up call to shake up the school day? Studies suggest that giving teenagers an extra hour in bed in the morning could boost their brain power. So is this the way forward? Let's find out more. Niamh and Jenna are here in the studio with me, and joining us from Edinburgh is Jane Ansell, the CEO of Sleep Scotland. Thanks to all of you for coming in. If I could just start with you first, Niamh and Jenna. Do you think you get enough sleep every night?
Sometimes, but it depends on what's on in school that week. Like, if I'm sleeping, it's really hard to focus and the next day when you're thinking so much about, like, oh, I'm not getting enough sleep tonight because I've got this deadline due tomorrow. And yeah, so I do really struggle sometimes.
Yeah. And is that something that affects you?
I think sometimes you do kind of, you start kind of panicking about how much you have to get done. So you spend a lot of time, you obviously try and spend a lot of time like trying to study and fitting a lot in before you go to sleep, and then by the time you get to bed, if you're not really that tired, if you're stressing about what you've got the next day, then it is harder to fall asleep. So yeah.
Okay, so a lot more pressure that you're facing than perhaps I faced when I was younger. Jay, let me come to you. Do you think that teenagers need more sleep than they're getting at the moment?
Yes, they absolutely do. They need actually 9¼ hours, because in a teenager's life, there is so much going on. Their brains are moving so fast, you know, they're growing. There's so much that they're dealing with that they actually need. Their perfect timing is 9¼ and we've begun over the last number of years to teach sleep in schools. And we actually teach the teachers, and now it's become part of the Scottish curriculum in some areas.
Okay, but what I guess my mother would have said to me if I'd said I need more sleep, she'd say go to bed an hour earlier. Is that not a solution, Jane?
Well, I'm not speaking against going to bed earlier, but what we've also got to understand is that the physiology of a teenager is very different, and the melatonin, which is what we call the sleepy hormone, which induces sleep, is actually produced much, much later. One of the greatest challenges these days is all the different, I call it machinery, but it's phones, it's Xboxes, it's televisions, it's laptops, and this actually reduces the amount of melatonin, and therefore is making the teenager feel they're not sleepy, even though they could be quite tired.
Okay, is that something that you girls would relate to? Do you think mobile phones and social media is making it harder in a way to switch off?
Definitely, yeah. If you're on your phone at night and all your friends are on the phone, you're all talking, you're just having a laugh or whatever, and then if you don't think that anyone's going to go to sleep anytime soon, you don't really want to turn off your phone in case you miss out on anything, right, or yeah, stuff like that. Yeah,
it's just the fear of missing out, I think. Like, you're just thinking of how much they're all like having a laugh or whatever, and you're missing out on it because you're turning your phone off. Like, you just don't want to do it.
Right. And do you think that one of the proposals we're hearing today, perhaps if we push school forward an hour, if you started your school day an hour later, do you think that would be a benefit?
No, I don't think so, because if school started an hour earlier, it's going to finish
No,
later.
start an hour later. I mean, so instead
yeah.
of starting at 9, if you started at 10, would that be something you'd go for?
No, because it would probably finish later.
Right.
So then you're going to stay up later anyway, trying to fit in all your work. So.
Yeah, I think as well, if you know that you're going to be getting up an hour later, a lot of people would kind of take advantage of that and just like try and stay up another hour later instead of actually going to sleep when they originally did.
Okay, so Jane, given this experience, or worried that the day might be pushed a bit forward, do you think there's any other advice we could give to teens who think they're struggling somewhat with sleep?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, and I think they're very wise comments from the girls, very wise indeed. And what we need to think about is a transition period between a very active daytime and hopefully a very passive night time. So nobody can just go from one stage straight to the other. First of all, they need to think, have they had enough exercise earlier? Have they had enough fresh air? And then really slow down. Have an hour or so before they go to bed, free of the television, the laptops, and probably a lot of the worry that comes with it. I remember one teenager saying to me, who I taught, that her mum took over Facebook from her at 11 o'clock because she was so tired, but she felt such enormous peer pressure. So one of the main things we do is we teach it in schools because it needs to be addressed by a peer group. Okay,
and I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there, but thanks very much to all of you for this stimulating discussion. We hope you all get a bit of rest later on tonight.
Very much.